All right, guys. So today I want to talk about the dark side of self-development, or more specifically, like the male self-improvement scene online, on social media, things like that. Okay. I've been in the self-development space, like developing myself, helping other men do the same for about 8 years. And, when I first got into it, I was an 18-year-old kid, right? Didn't ever have really much guidance, didn't have much masculine figures in my life. So when you get out into the real world, right, you're trying to improve yourself. You listen to all these creators online, right? A lot of these people that are in the male improvement space, right? Like, and there's a lot of people, they always say like kind of the same kind of thing. It's like the same narrative, work on yourself, get jacked, date a lot of women, have a lot of money, things like that. I mean, there's differences with, each creator, but, like just to generalize, like things like fresh and fit, things like that. I actually watched a lot of that type of content, and, I actually followed it for a little bit, and, my life did get better. Like I got more jacked. I improved my communication skills, my dating skills, my knowledge, just how I relate with people, things that, elevate my status, little things like this. And, my life was improving. But about 3 to 4 years into it, I kind of just stopped with this whole thing because I realized that a lot of it was just fueled by bitterness. Like if you guys look at a lot of the male self-improvement, the whole alpha, manosphere type content, it's a lot of generalizations. It's a lot of very extreme things. Things like, when they talk about women, it's, all women are inherently materialistic, or, when they're talking about business and trust and friendship, don't trust a single soul, right? These are just examples. But, this type of self-improvement, male self-improvement content is it's negative in nature. And it kind of like, it's just a bunch of negativity. It's like, oh, this is the real world. Welcome to the raw truth, right? And it's just a whole bunch of negative shit. That's why I just had to stop. I think it does more harm than good because, it's just extreme viewpoints. And, if you really think about it, think about all these creators creating this type of content. At the end of the day, they're trying to get views. They're trying to get clicks. And you have to realize that extreme views are polarizing. Just a moderate type of view is not going to get no clicks, right? So totally understand where they're coming from. But, just having like these more negative beliefs, basically your life is just going to always be negative, okay? If you in your mind perceive that, all women are materialistic and they don't give a fuck and they're all evil, your life will literally reflect that. If you think that, oh, you can't trust a single soul, don't tell nobody your actions, stay low key, your life is gonna reflect that as well. And that's what I realized. I'm like, this is all stupid. Obviously it's just people are just trying to get clicks online. But I totally get it, guys, because I was there too. I was 18, wide-eyed, getting into the real world, learning about this shit, falling, bruising, getting heartbroken getting rejected, getting beaten, getting, whatever. Like life, me as a young adult, there was a lot of trauma. There was a lot of action. I got basically everything handed to me. I got my ass handed to me. And when all these roadblocks are coming in your way, your girl cheats on you, your business fails, you feel like you ain't shit, you're getting disrespected, right? When life is just throwing all this shit at you and you got all these roadblocks in your way, the easiest thing to do is just adopt a negative mentality. Like, for example, if your girl fucking cheats on you, the easy thing to do is just write off all women as bad and just like, I'm never trusting a single one again. That's actually the easiest thing to do. What's actually hard is maintaining your positive attitude and just allowing these things to happen and just really dealing with each situation and not losing your morale or breaking your spirit or losing faith in the world and just carrying on with your life. And one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite books called The Way of the Superior Man, I'm paraphrasing, but basically the author says it's better to live with an open heart, through the pain, through all these things that happen to you, and feel all these things rather than like shut yourself off, close yourself off, and just be numb to it all. And that's just when I realized like a lot of the self-improvement guys, a lot of these guys so invested into self-improvement, they're just hurt little boys. Like they're just hurt men with their hurt little inner child, and they're just trying to get back at something. They're trying to get back at life. They're trying to prove themselves. I realized that a lot of it's just bitterness, bro. A lot of it's just stemmed from past trauma, and they're just trying to like make themselves feel better again. So they kind of just try to improve everything about their life. They try to improve all the things they have, the money that they make, the women that they can attract for certain periods of time, right? And they put all their stock into that because they feel so empty inside, and they're just trying to make up for something. They're trying to make up for past trauma. That's what I realized, that all the people that are heavily into self-improvement, they all act from a place of bitterness. And so I was like, I'm not going to do this shit no more. I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to obviously trauma and all these negative things happen to everybody, but I'm not the type of person to hold on to this shit and be bitter, and just, that doesn't put you in a good headspace. It might be motivating for the time being, but it's not a good headspace to operate on. And I don't know about you guys. I know there's people, this is, your goal is not to be happy. Okay, you can live like that. I want to be happy. I want to be satisfied. I want to have a wholesome life, right? So for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to live like that. I'm not trying to live bitter. I'm not trying to live jaded. I'm not trying to live like a cynical, pessimistic person. And I think that's what a lot of male self-improvement is. So I kind of stepped away from, all that male self-improvement, trying to be, alpha, trying to be, the best high value man, the manosphere, basically. That's what people call it. I basically stepped away from all that. And what I think true self-development is true self-development is literally going after what you want. Okay, when you're a child, when you're growing up, your goals aren't even your goals. It's basically a bunch of people feeding you shit. When you're a child, you're very influenced by social norms, by your reputation, by what other kids view you as, and you basically cultivate your identity and your goals based on that. Okay, true self-development is going into manhood and realizing that you are your own man, and there's a lot of these different goals that you can go for, but the only ones worth going for are the ones that you truly want. And, a lot of people in this male self-development space will kind of try to put these goals on you. You have to have a lot of women, you have to have a lot of money, you have to have all these things, which are great. That's part of my story too. But ultimately, it's up to you to find what you want to prioritize. And I think that is what true self-development is. So find exactly what you want to do. Okay, it doesn't have to line up with what so-and-so is doing or what other people are doing. It's about your life. It's about what you want. Prioritize that before anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. You are your own man. Your opinion and your insight is more valuable than anybody else on this earth, because only you know what you want. So that's what true self-development is like going after what you want, living on your terms, taking other viewpoints in, but really just dialing down on what you want. So it's kind of pretty much my little rant here. Like, I think the male self-development space is kind of cooked. It's a lot of content. You got to realize that it's all for clicks. It's not really meant to help anybody. And yeah, that's it.